Really?
You know what? So many women say to me, "You're so Andrew. You know what? You're so rich, but you're smart, and you're actually very intelligent. And I know you'd get really bored of a robot." And I'm sitting there thinking, "Bitch, I wish to God you were a robot." You better shut the fuck up.
Is Andrew Tate right about women? In this video, we're going to take an honest look at some of his most memorable clips to find out what he gets right and what he gets wrong. So I think this video is going to be quite unique because on the internet, whenever discussing Andrew Tate, you see two extremes. The first is the SJWs who say, "Oh my God, he's a misogynist, he hates women, don't listen to him, he's so toxic." On the other end of the spectrum, you have his fanboys who say, "Oh my God, he's the best, he's so good, he just speaks pure wisdom, he's just super duper alpha macho, blah, blah, blah," right? And then you don't really see a lot of people who are taking an honest look at what he's saying and evaluating whether it's right or wrong based on its merit. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. But before we jump into that, I do want to play a clip which I think summarizes perfectly how I view Andrew Tate.
He's the combination of a great communicator, great storyteller, great troll, great showman, and a true believer. Combined all in one, which is an unreal combination. There are people.
This is exactly what I've said in the past. Does Andrew Tate believe the stuff he says? Yes, he does believe it. But does he also exaggerate and use hyperbole? A lot of hyperbole for dramatic effect? Yes, he does. And ironically, that's actually the thing that I feel like, really got him deplatformed and could potentially be the thing that also is going to get him in trouble with the law, right? Because he does use a lot of hyperbole, right? So again, it's something that helped him grow his following. It's something that helped him go viral, but it's also a double-edged sword. So yes, again, to go back to this, people are saying, "Oh, Andrew Tate doesn't really believe in this stuff." No, he does believe in it, right? But he's also exaggerating to really drive the point home. Now let's get into some of the clips. The first one is talking about whether a woman is the property of a man or whether a woman, man has a responsibility to take care of his woman. Let's see what he says on this.
I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman's given over.
That's inherently where you get called sexist.
No, it's not. Well, you can call me sexist if you want, but if you look at marriage, it's the bride's father who gives her away. It's not the groom's father.
In old tradition.
The woman is always given over to the man. Read the Bible, read the Quran, you can go to
You're walking down the aisle, no chance. There's African cultures where they don't do that.
I'm sure there are some obscure tribes somewhere. I mean, I can't say I'm not a professional.
But you get it. You seem like a very smart guy.
Understand
you
why
seem like a
would
smart
say
guy.
that.
You're saying a woman is the property of a man if they're dating.
I'm not saying they're a property. I'm saying they're given to the man and they belong to the man. It doesn't mean they're a pure property.
Now, I gotta be honest. Even though I'm a big fan of Dave Portnoy, I lost a little bit of respect for him because he's being quite disgenuine. One is he's saying, "Oh, well, there's gotta be some random African tribe where that's an exception." Yeah, exception doesn't make the rule. And two, he's saying, "Oh, you're saying it's the property." He said repeatedly, "I don't think that the woman is the property of the man, but I think it's a man's role to take care of the woman," right? And if you think about what is a great father, well, a great father is someone that takes care of the family, and also part of the family is taking care of his wife. This is not some crazy radical concept. This is something that's been, throughout all of history. It's like if you want to be a great father, great partner, you do have to take care of that. Now, of course, some women require a lot more taking care of than others, and me personally, I prefer to date women who are a little bit more independent, who don't require me to just fucking handhold them and, for me to do everything for them, right? But again, even me dating a woman who I think is fairly independent, she has her own job, right? She has her own life, she doesn't need me constantly for emotional support. I do consider my responsibility, for example, to basically protect her and provide her, with some type of value, right? So for example, that could be as simple as if she's struggling with something and, she's upset, providing her a little bit of comfort and just being, very stable and grounded for her. Or for example, if she's having a hard time making a decision, helping her make that decision. Again, it could be something as simple as that. But I do think that if you're just in a relationship and you're just no responsibility on my end, I do my thing, you do your thing, that's not really a relationship, right? Again, there's various degrees of it. But what he's saying here is nothing crazy. This is something that I very much agree with. I think if he had worded this differently, this is something that 99.9% of people would have agreed this. But again, he's using hyperbole, which is what makes it kind of, something that people are looking at and they're like, "Oh, I don't know about this." Let's move on to the next clip.
I think if a man is not sexually exclusive, it's not the same as if a woman is, because with a woman you have the paternity issue. With a man you don't have a paternity issue. Read the Bible. Every single man had multiple wives. Not a single woman had multiple husbands. It's against the will of God. It's disgusting in the eyes of God himself.
Okay, this is something I very much fundamentally disagree with, because cheating is cheating. I don't think it matters if a man does it or a woman does it. So the follow-up question, if I was debating Andrew Tate, I would have is, okay, well, let's just assume the woman is barren, right? Let's just assume that she went to the doctor and he told her she could never have kids. Is it at that point not a big deal if she cheats? And I'm sure he would say, well, no, it's still a big deal. Well, why? The paternity question is out the window, right? So I think that, a lot of the red pillers, they use paternity as a thing, but that's not really the crux of the reason. They want to be able to fuck other girls, but they don't want their women to be able to fuck other men, which is totally fine. That's exactly the kind of relationship I have. But instead of trying to basically justify your cheating, why not just set up a relationship from the start where you're upfront with a girl and tell her, hey, listen, what I want is to be able to hook up with other girls. I personally don't feel comfortable you hooking up with other guys. That's just kind of what I'm looking for. If you're not feeling it, then I totally understand. And believe it or not, if you're a guy who the girl really finds attractive and you have a strong emotional connection, there's going to be quite a few girls who will go for that, right? Especially if you're keeping her sexually satisfied. So this is just what I fundamentally disagree with. I think it's equally as ethically messed up for the guy to cheat as it is for the girl to cheat. Again, I don't think guys get any kind of special privileges, when it comes just because they can't be the ones that get pregnant. So yeah, I just fundamentally disagree with this logic. I see what he's trying to do. Again, he's trying to set up a dynamic where he can have sex with other girls and his girlfriend can't. But I think there's a much cleaner and easier and honest way to do that, and that's called just being honest from the start instead of trying to justify it in biology. So this one I disagree with. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
Once you
This is a clip where Andrew Tate is talking about how he picks up girls.
have their attention. What I personally say, and I know this is cliche, everyone's expecting some amazing line, but it's really not a line. I want to make my intention clear from the beginning. So excuse me. I just want to say you are absolutely beautiful. And I say it and I look them in the eyes. I'm all bitch. I will look you directly in the eyes when I tell you you're beautiful. I'm not punk. I'm not afraid of nobody.
Okay, so let's just start off analyzing this as we go along. So, two things. In terms of the strong eye contact, very much support. In terms of going in and saying, I find you very beautiful, it's not the worst way to open a girl, but I think it's kind of suboptimal because girls get told they're beautiful 20 times a day, especially beautiful girls. They hear it all the time, over and over again, and it's a very generic compliment. What I would prefer is to do a compliment based on something that is unique to her, like her style, right? Or a shirt that she's wearing. You could be like, oh, I really like the style, you look very well put together. Or, oh, I really like your hair. Did you work on that? Something that wasn't given to the girl, like her beauty, something that she actively had to work on. And that's going to work a lot better. So there's two types of compliments, like I said. One is just, compliments based on the girl's body and appearance, and the other one is based on something that she had to earn, merit, right? And I prefer merit type of compliments. They just work so much better, and they're also a lot more unique, and you're going to get a much better reaction.
Make my intention clear. The reason I say that is because 99% of the time, unless the girl's a fucking cunt as a person, the only thing she can really say is thank you. She has to say something.
Yes, she will say thank you, but quite often when you go in with a strong compliment, women just go into, especially if it's on the street, women will go into auto defense mode, right? They just kind of put you in the random creepy guy category, and they'll be like, thank you. Anyway, have a good day, and they walk away, right? So it's really not the ideal way to get a conversation started.
Positive, right? So we've started, let's look at this from a human psychology perspective. Now I'm a stranger, but the first interaction is positive. True or false, right? So I've come over and said, you're absolutely beautiful. And she says, thank you. I said, you're welcome. I just wanted to come and tell you that. I'm sure you hear it all the time. And I was wondering if I could have your Instagram. The reason I asked for an Instagram is because it's a far less.
So this is honestly fairly basic, kind of almost bad game, if I'm being honest. Tell the girl she's beautiful, say you must hear it all the time, and then get her Instagram. That is what the vast majority of guys who approach her do, right? That is not actually a good game. What I would recommend instead is to either use an observational opener, comment on something around the situation, or just say something as simple as like, hey, I thought you were really cute. I want to meet you real quick, right? So again, you're not really stressing the compliment part, or giving her a compliment that's based on merit, right? And then having a conversation with her for at least a few minutes where you tease her, where you banter with her, you create a sexual vibe, you set up the premise of a date, and then you get her number, not her Instagram. Now, for someone like Andrew Tate, getting her Instagram is totally fine, right? Again, well, I think now he's banned, but before that, when this clip came out, he has a verified Instagram. He has a lot of dope shit on there. His Instagram is in the 0.01%, but for the average guy, getting a girl's Instagram is close to useless. She has hundreds of guys DMing her every single day. You think you're going to stand out? Again, if you have a really good Instagram, then get her Instagram. But for the average guy, get the phone number.
Less personal than a phone number. If you ask for a phone number, very few people have her phone number. But every random motherfucker already follows her on Instagram. So why would she say no? So she gives it to you. And this is human psychology. She's already said thank you. It's already positive. Now she's giving you her Insta, which everyone else has. And after she gives me her Insta, this is the true test. I say, what's your name? Let's say she says, Jade. I'm a Eurocentric, Bubba. No, I'm joking. Jade. I'll say, it's nice to meet you, Jade. I'll shake her hand. And I'll wait 2 seconds. If she says, what's your name? She's on it. If she wants to know my name back, it's done. Game over. 100%.
Yeah, this is not the worst cold approach strategy, but I would rate this like a C-. Like, this is highly suboptimal. It's definitely better if you go up to a girl, if you're the average guy, you go up to a girl and you give her a generic compliment, you right away ask for her Instagram. What do you think are the odds that you'll get a date with her? Close to 0, right? Unless she's like really, really horny or really her type, like you just haven't made enough of an impression. So I would not advocate this strategy. I think if Andrew Tate like actually learned some cold approach pickup, which he doesn't need to, right? Because he's having more than enough girls who are hitting him up because he's famous, right? But if he actually did, you know, he would be fucking unstoppable. But yeah, like typically guys who are kind of like naturals, they don't really need to do that, right? So they have their own like little theories that are not really based in much, right? But it's something that, you know, they think works, right? Because for whatever reason, and they, you know, they kind of advocate this. So again, like, do I recommend guys do this? No, this is, I feel, a suboptimal approach. Move on to the next clip.
What's so attractive about younger women? A lot of these dudes talk about fertility and looks and stuff. I don't actually think it's that. I think that in the modern world, in the days of old, right? You'd meet a woman, you get married, you be together, whatever. In the modern world, if I meet a girl who's 33 and single, I know the amount of dick that's been through her before me is just simply unattractive. I don't care how nice you are, but you're 33 years old. How many men have fucked? If I get a 19-year-old girl, I might be her second or third man, right? I'm gonna be dude number fucking 29, and all the trauma and heartbreak and bullshit they put you through, you're gonna try and bring to my door? Like, well, my last man cheated. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, why is that my problem? So if you pick up older women, you have to accept they've been on the carousel longer. They've had more fucking rides, more
Now, this really is not politically correct. It doesn't sound good to the average person, but there's an element of truth to what he's saying. A woman who's in her 30s and she's single, you know, there's probably a reason why she's single. There's probably some emotional trauma going on or some kind of behavior that's pushing away potential partners. Not always. There's of course exceptions. There's maybe a woman who was really like sheltered for her 20s, or she was really focused on her education so she didn't go out, or maybe it's a woman who, you know, got into a relationship early, but then that guy cheated on her. You know, that relationship ended, had nothing to do with her, and now she's single. So of course there's a lot of exceptions to this rule. But generally speaking, you know, if you're choosing between, you know, a girl who's 20 or a girl who's 35, right? The girl who's 35 on the average is going to have more emotional trauma, more shit for you to deal with, right? But again, there's definitely a lot of exceptions to this rule. Now, the one thing I would say on the other side is if you're a guy who's like 35, like me, I'm 33, I just turned 33, right? A woman who's 20, I don't think it's going to be a good partner for me, even though she might have less emotional trauma. It's just like we're in such different points of our life. Like, so I don't believe, like, look, for sex, great, fuck younger girls as long as they're over 18. But for relationships, I don't really think a 19-year-old girl is going to be as compatible as a girl who's in her late 20s, right? So again, pros and cons to what he's saying. I wish he did make that statement talking about, you know, the fact that they're not going to have as much in common. But again, I think what he's saying has an element of truth to it, right? But there's also another side of the coin. Let's move on to the next one.
I think the best thing about life and the worst thing about life can be the female you're with. If you have a good woman by your side who's truly down and understands who you are and who you need to be as a man and supports you the best she can, sometimes she'll cry, sometimes she'll get upset, whatever. But if she truly does, that can make life a really beautiful thing.
And all four of us know that.
And all four of us know that. And having a woman who's the opposite, ask any dude who had a divorce. Like, it can be horrible. So as a man, managing females and your relationship with females is always going to have a huge impact on how enjoyable life is, whatever. Anything. So that's a really interesting.
So I want to end off on a positive note, but he is 1000% correct about this. Having a girlfriend has been so valuable to my life. But that's only because she's a good type of girl, right? But if you have a girl who makes your life miserable because she, I don't know, whatever, she doesn't respect you or she fucks with you or anything like that, it can be the worst thing ever. So relationships can be either the best thing ever or the worst thing ever, somewhere in the middle, and largely depends on the girl. So which is why it's really, really important to be very selective and look for the right things and pick the right type of girl instead of just getting into a relationship with the first girl that's willing to bang you. So overall, what do I think? Well, I think there's a lot of things that Andrew Tate is correct about, especially when it comes to masculinity, right? There's a lot of very interesting, profound things he say. Now, they're not anything that's super unique. These are things that have been going around the manosphere for decades, right? He didn't really come up with any of the stuff, but he's able to package it and deliver it in a very entertaining way, which is reaching a whole bunch of people who are traditionally not the manosphere. I think also, unfortunately, he is kind of set in his beliefs, right? And he does hold a lot of these red pill values that I don't know if he's really thought about. And unfortunately, like, all the people he's debated aren't actually people like me who can give him like nuanced, like, kind of pushback without trying to attack his character and like try to give an alternative perspective. It's literally like random SJWs who call him misogynist, right? And at that point, you can't really, you know, get him to like kind of update his opinion. But yeah, overall, I think he has a lot of good takes, but there's also a few things that he's wrong about. All right, hopefully you guys found this video valuable. Show us some love, like I always say, by smashing the like button, hit subscribe, click the bell for notification, share this video with a friend or two because it really helps in the algorithm. If you guys want to see another video on Andrew Tate, check out my thoughts on his arrest, or you can check out our brand new PWF Clips channel where we have some of the highlights from our best debates. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time.